can't take their eyes off Deion Sanders' private cancer battle, hidden from his sons, inspires the nation. On July 28th, the sun beamed down on Folsom Field in Boulder, Colorado. For many, it was just another summer day. But for Deion Sanders, it was a resurrection. Standing before the media and fans, glowing with renewed energy, Coach Prime grinned and declared, "I'm back, baby. I'm back." The crowd erupted. The moment wasn't just symbolic, it was life-defining. Behind that triumphant return was a storm of silence, secrecy, and suffering. Sanders had not just been absent from the sidelines. He had been battling a fierce opponent behind closed doors: bladder cancer. It was a fight waged with surgical precision, spiritual conviction, and a stunning amount of solitude. Not even his sons, Shadur and Shiloh, knew. And that silence, it wasn't cold. It was calculated. The diagnosis that shook Coach Prime's world. It all started with what was supposed to be a routine heart CT scan. Deion Sanders had long been battling foot issues, complications that had already led to the amputation of 2 toes in 2021. But while monitoring his cardiovascular health, doctors made a life-altering discovery: a tumor. Not just any tumor, high-grade, aggressive, and invading the bladder wall. The prognosis was grim. Left untreated, the cancer had a high likelihood of recurrence. Worse, if it spread to the muscle or metastasized, the 5-year survival rate dropped drastically to about 10%. It wasn't just a health scare, it was a countdown clock. That's when Sanders met Dr. Janet Kukreja, a robotic surgery expert from UC Health and the University of Colorado School of Medicine. Under her care, Sanders underwent a radical cystectomy, complete removal of his bladder. Painful, invasive, necessary, and life-saving. I am pleased to report that the results from the surgery are that he is cured from the cancer, Dr. Kukreja told the media. It was a statement that felt like a national exhale. "I trusted and believed in you 100%. As Sanders stood next to Dr. Kukreja at the press conference, his gratitude radiated. "I trusted and believed in you 100%, he told her before flashing his signature charisma. "I don't know if you said this, Doc. I think I might have dreamt it, but I think you said that you were as good as I was, even better." It was a classic prime-time moment, mixing humor with humility. But underneath it was a raw truth. Sanders had just survived the greatest battle of his life. Still, amid the relief and celebration, one detail stunned everyone watching. Keeping it from his sons, they have an assignment. In a candid interview on Well-Off Media, Deion Sanders dropped the bombshell. "Shadur and Shiloh still don't know what's going on," he said matter-of-factly. "They're on assignment right now. They're focused. They're locked in. They need to focus on what they got in front of them, not focus on me." For a man who raised his sons like teammates, who coached them at Jackson State in Colorado, and who celebrated their every milestone, this confession landed like a gut punch. But his reasoning was crystal clear. "God got me. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be right," he added. "They have an assignment right before their eyes that they can't take their eyes off. And that's what I want." That assignment? For Shadur, it's winning over Cleveland as the Browns' 5th-round rookie quarterback. For Shiloh, it's fighting for a roster spot with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Sanders knew that if his sons were to succeed in the biggest chapter of their professional careers, they couldn't be worried about their dad. So he carried the pain alone. Shadur and Shiloh, writing their own NFL stories. At the time of Sanders' recovery, Shadur Sanders was quietly ascending from QB4 to a real contender in the Browns' intense quarterback battle. Drafted 144th overall, far lower than many had predicted, he entered the NFL with a chip on his shoulder and something to prove. In Berea, Ohio, the dog pound is already buzzing. Shadur's resilience, accuracy, and leadership are turning heads. He's not just surviving, he's pushing the veterans around him. Meanwhile, in Tampa Bay, Shiloh Sanders is making noise of his own. Though undrafted, he's impressed Bucs head coach Todd Bowles and is inching toward locking in a spot on the 53-man roster. His fiery energy and ball-hawking instincts are making believers out of fans and staff alike. What neither knew, as they grinded through training camp in scorching summer heat, was that their father was recovering from a life-threatening illness alone. Why it wasn't cold? It was survival. In a world obsessed with transparency and vulnerability, Deion Sanders made an old-school choice. He didn't post emotional updates. He didn't film recovery vlogs. He didn't even call his sons. Because in his world, survival sometimes requires silence. "I didn't want to be a distraction," Sanders explained. "I didn't want sympathy. They had dreams to chase, and I've never let my pain become their burden." This stoic resolve, however, wasn't lost on fans or rivals. Brett Favre reacts, shocked but thankful. NFL legend Brett Favre, who shared both friendship and fierce rivalry with Sanders during their NFL days, responded to the news with genuine emotion. "I was completely caught off guard," Favre told TMZ. "Shocked, but I'm thankful that the prognosis looks good." The two icons first crossed paths with the Atlanta Falcons in 1991, but it was their battles in the NFC that forged mutual respect. "I'm not surprised he's digging his heels in and is going to keep coaching," Favre added. "Not that he needs my advice, but just keep doing what you're doing. You're impacting so many people. So many are pulling for you." For Favre, who is now battling Parkinson's disease himself, his words were more than a soundbite. They were a nod from one survivor to another. Sanders' message to the world: get checked. As grateful as Sanders is to be alive, he's not keeping his journey to himself anymore. At the press conference, he made a plea. "Everybody get checked out," he said, "because if it wasn't for me getting tested for something else, they wouldn't have stumbled upon this." His words are now echoing across communities, especially among Black men, who are statistically less likely to get early screenings for cancers and other serious conditions. His message: don't wait until it's too late. A return to life, not just football. When Deion Sanders said, "I'm back," he wasn't just talking about coaching the Colorado Buffaloes. He was talking about a rebirth. This is a man who has undergone 14 surgeries since 2021. He's battled blood clots, lost toes, and now face-down bladder cancer. Yet, somehow, he still finds the energy to lead, inspire, and build one of the most buzzworthy programs in college football. His battle wasn't about physical strength. It was about faith, grit, and an unwavering sense of duty, not just to his players, but to his family. And now, after conquering what may be his toughest opponent yet, he's stepping back into the spotlight, not for fame, but for legacy. Legacy built in silence, revealed in strength. Coach Prime didn't just beat cancer. He beat the odds, and he did it without asking for applause. He protected his sons so they could chase their own dreams. He shielded his team so they could stay focused, and he entrusted his faith to carry him through. Now cancer-free, he walks a little lighter. He smiles a little wider. And when Shedeur and Shiloh finally learn the full story, they won't just see their father as a legend. They'll see him as a warrior. Trade him now. Browns fans furious after Kevin Stefanski buries Shedeur Sanders in QB4 role. Imagine this. The adrenaline rush of NFL draft night. Bright lights. Big dreams. The Cleveland Browns make a move that sends ripples across the football world. They select Shedeur Sanders, a record-breaking quarterback out of Colorado, the son of NFL legend Deion Coach Prime Sanders, and a player many believed had first-round talent. Now fast forward to training camp. Instead of headlines about Shedeur taking over the Browns' offense, there's disbelief. Kevin Stefanski just unveiled the team's first official depth chart of 2025, and Shedeur Sanders isn't QB1. He isn't QB2. He's not even QB3. He's QB4. Let that sink in. Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders. That's the order. And for Browns fans, it might as well be a slap in the face. From hope to heartbreak, a fan base left reeling. Browns Nation entered 2025 buzzing with cautious optimism. While the previous season's 3-14 finish still stung, the quarterback room had new blood. Joe Flacco brought veteran stability. Kenny Pickett was hoping for a rebound after a rocky time in Pittsburgh. Dillon Gabriel, a college star with gaudy numbers, was seen as a wild card. And then there was Shedeur Sanders, the wild card who could be the ace. He wasn't just another rookie. He was the guy who threw for 4,134 yards, 37 touchdowns, and just 6 interceptions in his final college season. The guy who captured the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award. The guy whose number 2 jersey was retired in Boulder after just 2 years. The guy who commanded one of the worst defensive lines in college football history and still put up elite numbers. He was supposed to be the future. Now he's QB4. Stefanski's logic or lack thereof. Breaking down the logic of this depth chart feels like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube in the dark. Stefanski leaned into experience with Joe Flacco, who boasts 191 career starts and a Super Bowl MVP on his resume. Fair enough. Kenny Pickett, despite an underwhelming NFL stint so far and a nagging hamstring issue, holds the QB2 slot, likely because of his college pedigree and flashes of competence with the Steelers. Then there's Dillon Gabriel. A college star at UCF in Oregon, Gabriel racked up nearly 19,000 yards and 155 touchdowns over 5 seasons. He looked sharp early in padded camp, showing surprising command and rhythm. And so he slid into QB3. That left Shedeur Sanders as the odd man out. Officially, Stefanski cited shoulder soreness and limited reps as factors. Unofficially, Browns GM Andrew Berry hinted at off-field issues and just not smart decision-making during the offseason. But the deeper narrative? The Browns seem to view Shedeur as a long-term project, a 4-year plan, as ESPN Cleveland's Tony Grossi bluntly put it. They want to develop him over time, Grossi said. That's fine until it isn't. In Shedeur we trust. Browns fans clap back. The backlash from the dog pound has been swift and loud. In Shedeur we trust. Read one fan's sign outside training camp. On Twitter, now X, fans weren't so diplomatic. Trade Shedeur to the Raiders already. He doesn't deserve this QB4 disrespect. Man, get Shedeur out of Cleveland, please. Let him go somewhere where he'll be appreciated. If Browns release Shedeur, I guarantee Cowboys will pick him up. Don't be stupid. Why stash a first-round talent behind Flacco and Pickett? He's not a project. He's a franchise. The sentiment is clear. Cleveland might be fumbling the bag. Again. A talent wasting away? If Shedeur Sanders was a 4th-round flyer with shaky tape, this depth chart might make sense. But this is a player scouts once compared to Jared Goff in terms of pocket awareness, timing, and ball placement. His 74% completion rate and 168.2 passer rating at Colorado weren't padding stats. They were the product of quick processing, NFL-caliber throws, and elite accuracy under pressure from defenders and pressure from legacy. Shedeur was sacked 50-plus times last season, yet he never flinched. He didn't just survive, he elevated. He turned Colorado football into must-watch TV. And now he's QB4 in a team that couldn't buy a first down last season? That's not development. That's mismanagement. OTAs told a different story. Let's rewind to OTAs. Sanders was the talk of Berea. According to insider reports, he completed over 75% of his passes in drills, routinely threw viral dimes in red zone situations, and drew praise from coaches for his footwork, field command, and film room habits. One veteran assistant was reportedly heard saying, "He's the purest passer in the group." But now, he's buried behind a 39-year-old journeyman, a battered QB2, and a rookie still learning the playbook. Fans have a right to be frustrated. Deion Sanders weighs in. Even Coach Prime himself seems bewildered but supportive. In a recent well-off media video, Deion confirmed that Shedeur had asked him not to attend Browns camp. "He wants to earn this. He told me, 'Dad, don't come. I need to do this my way,'" Deion said, visibly emotional. It's the underdog role Shedeur is embracing, and maybe that's what keeps him going. But make no mistake, Deion Sanders knows how these things go. He's watched NFL teams mishandle elite talent before, and he's watching closely now. A trade request on the horizon? If Shedeur remains QB4 by September, don't be surprised if whispers of a trade request start circulating. Teams like the Raiders, Cowboys, and Falcons could all use young quarterback depth, and all had interest in Shedeur before the draft. One anonymous NFC scout told The Athletic, "We had a second-round grade on Sanders. He just fell because people didn't want the Deion circus. But if Cleveland doesn't plan to use him, why keep him?" Some fans are already floating scenarios. Trade Shedeur for a third and future fifth. Let him ball somewhere else. Don't waste him here. Flacco ain't the future. Pickett ain't the future. Shedeur is. Or trade him to someone who believes. Playing it too safe? Maybe Stefanski is simply playing it safe. The Browns open the season with a brutal stretch of games, and relying on rookies might be risky. Veterans like Flacco and Pickett offer floor options, not ceiling players. But in today's NFL, the ceiling wins. CJ Stroud, Brock Purdy, Justin Herbert, these rookies didn't sit for 4 years. They started, they elevated, and they changed their franchises forever. By contrast, Cleveland's choice to slow play Shedeur Sanders might not reflect patience. It may reflect fear. The bigger picture. This is about more than one quarterback. It's about a franchise that has spent 2 decades chasing consistency under center. And now that they may finally have found a star in the making, they're choosing to wait. That strategy could work, or it could implode. Because Shedeur Sanders isn't just any QB4. He's a competitor, a worker, a leader. And if the Browns don't see it, someone else will. Final thoughts. The dog pound deserves better. At the end of the day, fans don't care about pedigree. They care about production. And from what they've seen on film, in OTAs, and in college, Shedeur Sanders is the future. Not some project. Not some placeholder. Not some QB4. If the Browns aren't ready to let him lead, they might want to let him go. Because the longer he sits, the louder the calls will get. Free Shedeur. Trade him. Let him cook. And if the Browns ignore it, they may wake up one day and realize they let their next great quarterback walk before he ever got a chance to play.